the 1920s, the sprawling, brawling, skyscraper-studded city of Chicago ruled the American heartland. And one man seemed to rule Chicago. A racketeer, pimp, bootlegger, and cold-blooded killer named Al Capone.
Capone ran things with an iron fist.
Capone once said, to him, an honest politician was a politician that stayed bought once you bought him.
But running Chicago took more than bribe.
He had scars on his face to show his apprenticeship in that do-or-die environment. He had what it took to create an empire.
Capone's empire lasted just 6 blood-soaked years, but his image as the ultimate American mobster still survives, decades after his days of gangland glory.
That hat, the cigar, the scar face, gangster.
He's a role model to the criminal elements even today. The young street gang guys, they sort of view him as, quote, the original gangster.
Come to pass, and here's the proof. Mr. Alphonse Capone, alias Mr. Al Brown, alias the Big Shot, has met the enemy and he is there. It won't be long now before the world's most notorious gangster will be only an offensive memory.
May 4th, 1932. Al Capone, on his way to serve an 11-year sentence in a federal penitentiary, makes his final exit from Chicago, the city he had once ruled as his own. Capone's hectic departure marks a big change from his arrival just over a decade earlier. Back then, Capone had slipped silently into the city, unnoticed and unannounced. But back then, he wasn't the most notorious criminal in America. He was just a young mobster from Brooklyn who was on the lam. Capone's troubles had started while he was working as a bouncer for a Coney Island crime boss named Frankie Yale.
Capone began in so this bar in Coney Island was a dime a dance kind of place. Probably prostitution was being run out of there, although it was just a one-story sort of shabby building.
Yale very early recognized quite quickly in the Yale organization.
But Capone's rise almost ended when he made a pass at a customer's sister.
And at some point
was left with permanent scars across his cheek and a nickname he would come to despise.
he became Scarface at that point, but I don't believe that Scarface is a nickname that very many people ever used.
But that elegance hid a vicious mean streak. By 1919, Capone had already killed at least one man in Brooklyn and roughed up plenty of others. Word on the street was that one of his victims was out for revenge.
And supposedly Frankie Yale said to Capone,
Son Al Jr. in a respectable house on a quiet street. Then he went out to look up another gangster from Brooklyn, Johnny Torrio. Torrio had headed west years earlier to work for his uncle by marriage, Chicago crime lord Big Jim Colosimo. Now Torrio was Big Jim's trusted right-hand man.
It was really Big Jim Colosimo.
Torrio and Capone would go on to form a partnership that would shape the future of organized crime. It all began on January 17, 1920, when a new constitutional amendment prohibiting the sale and manufacture of alcoholic beverages went into effect. Prohibition promised huge profits to those willing to flout the law. Gangsters in Chicago and across the nation rushed to grab their share. But when Torrio and Capone urged Colosimo to join in, Big Jim said no.
He enjoyed his club. He had recently divorced and married a singer named Dale Winter. He was quite happy in his life, very content.
Jim Colosimo, who they loved and revered,